Are you ready to rewind? Take a nostalgia-filled ride back to a simpler time. It's Acid Wash Memories, a retro pop culture celebration. And now your hosts, Joe Murata and Michael Quinn.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 79 of Acid Wash Memories, a retro pop culture celebration. Today, we are wrapping up the Mortal Kombat trilogy, if you will, with Mortal Kombat 3. I am Joe Murata, alongside friendship himself, Michael Quinn. How you doing there, Michael?
Toasty, that's me.
Very toasty.
Toasty friendship. I'm the guy with the purple shirt on this time.
Yes, Michael Quinn with the purple shirt. That's how everyone knows you, obviously, right? Mm-hmm. Folks, thank you so much for being with us here, whether you have a purple shirt or not. We really do appreciate you. If this happens to be your first time, well, I do want to tell you that there's 78 other episodes available where, Quinn?
In the archives.
In the archives. So you find something you like if you're not into Mortal Kombat. But whether you're a first-timer or a long-timer, we do want to invite you to follow us on Twitter or X at AWM Podcast. And you can also join our very friendly Facebook group. It is friendly.
Yeah, it's so friendly.
Lots of friendship, if you will.
I mean, that's all they do over there. They only know the friendship code. They don't know fatalities or anything like that.
No, there's no babalities or anything like that. It's a fun time. So join our Facebook group. It is called Acid Wash Memories.
It is.
It was a tough name to choose.
We got
as
it.
We've talked about.
We figured it all out.
We did. So thank you guys for being with us here. So we've talked about in the archives Mortal Kombat's 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And we talked about the development of both games and most importantly the reception. And where we left off was Mortal Kombat 2, which came out in late 93 in the arcades and in the homes the fall of 94.
Basically, it was good. It's the best one, and they didn't even need to make any more. It's that good.
Is that where you stand on 3, Quinn?
Yeah.
You could have done without 3?
I don't need that.
Okay, see, that's the thing. I think a lot of people agree with you. And we want to hear from you guys. There are big Mortal Kombat 3 supporters as well.
You mean everyone who just like went on with the series and just like ignored Street Fighter and was like, I'm a Mortal Kombat guy, and like just 3 and on, they were just like, we like this.
I think that is part of it. People, that's a great debate to have one day, Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat, the two big juggernauts of the fighting games of the 90s. I think there are people, who kept going with who supported them through Mortal Kombat 4 for crying out loud.
That shit sucked.
Well, that's tough to do. But we're going to talk about Mortal Kombat 3 today. As we mentioned, Quinn said Mortal Kombat 2 was good, which is, a very succinct way of saying it was a tremendous success.
Yeah,
I mean, it really was.
It has the biggest tent, if you will, right? The most people were like, this is good. Basically,
so.
Like, this was the one. This actually, like, competed with Street Fighter 2. Not like, this is a parody game or whatever the first one was.
Well, that's a good point. We were talking on the Mortal Kombat 2 episode about, you and I are both big Street Fighter loyalists, so to speak, right? But you and I were both in agreement that after playing Mortal Kombat 2 as a kid, it's like, whoa, this might be actually better.
It was part of the, like, repertoire of, like, fighting games you would, like, go to. We're done with Street Fighter for now. Let's go play some Mortal Kombat. Then sometimes you go back to Street Fighter. But, like, it was, like, in the mix.
It was in the mix, Michael.
Yeah, exactly.
So Mike and Amanda, so we'll be in the mix.
We in the mix.
And Midway, who developed the first two, they were not one to look a gift horse in the mouth, whatever that means. But here's another metaphor for you. They knew the goose that laid the golden egg, so they milked that cash cow.
Oh, they milked.
Tons of milk.
They were like, Mortal Kombat's our thing now, right?
Yes.
Screw everything else, Mortal Kombat.
So, obviously, it was only natural. Why don't we beat Street Fighter to the punch and release our third game? Because Street Fighter's fucking around.
Well, I mean, that's another story that we probably discussed about how they just, like, would not put a 3 out forever.
Like 6 iterations of the Street Fighter 2 engine by this point.
Like, even if you look into it, the 3 we got wasn't even supposed to be Street Fighter 3. It was, like, some other shit.
Yes.
And then they were like, this is Street Fighter 3 now.
It's really strange, but Mortal Kombat was not averse. They went right into it in 94, started developing Mortal Kombat 3, and initially, I don't know how far off the planning stage this got. It was going to be a 3D game. They obviously chucked that idea from Mortal Kombat.
It would have looked like shit. Like, seriously, it would have looked bad.
I think you're right.
On Super Nintendo and Genesis?
How would you?
What?
Yeah, how would you do it?
Our motto in Williams is always that reality is boring. Nobody wants to pay for reality. We take everything beyond reality to the point where it's, the only way to do this is through our video game.
Before we get into the big elements of the game, I want to talk about the feel of Mortal Kombat 3. Anyone that's ever played all 3 of the first ones will know that the first 2 have a distinctly Asian, Far East motif, aesthetic, and the music as well. For Mortal Kombat 3, in a radical departure, we are much more Western.
It's like a futuristic dystopian hellscape of like New York City or some shit,
It's like
right?
Blade Runner Mortal Kombat,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. Or like LA, but in Blade Runner.
Right. That's one thing, one major difference, and one of the reasons why this game polarized some of the fan base at the time, and maybe to this day, is it just felt different and looked different than the previous two. But can I ask you a fair, because you're a very fair man, Michael Quinn.
I'm so fair, yeah. The fairest.
Can I
the
please
fairest of them all.
My lord, can I please ask you a question, my fair lord?
Yeah.
Do you think it was a wise gambit to at least go in a different direction artwork? Okay.
Yeah, I mean...
You don't begrudge or besmirch for that?
It is a numbered entry. It should be like a little different than 2. It's not like 2 Turbo of Mortal Kombat, right?
There you go. Okay, I think that's a fair and balanced way to look at it, by the fairest.
I mean, it is
Michael
very
Quinn.
Turbo. I'll give it that.
There is some turbo elements, yes.
There's new combos that you can do on the ground, like you chain a series of buttons together, a series of moves to get like 7 hits or whatever on the guy, and the first one hits, and the successive hits after that are unblockable.
Quinn, this is your favorite part of a video game. I know, especially fighting video games to talk about. That would be the plot.
Yeah.
You love that, right?
Irrelevant plot.
You're a big fan of the plot.
Nobody even knows. You ask a guy in the street, what's the plot of Mortal Kombat 3? There's nobody that would be able to tell you this.
That's where they do them fighting thing, right?
There's a karate tournament. That's it.
That's what it always is. Okay, so Shao Kahn, remember him? Hi, Dick, or whatever, right?
Uh-huh.
So he's the bad guy of Mortal Kombat 2.
Right.
And he has his queen, Sindel, revived, but he has it done in Earthrealm. And
How did he live through the second game? We beat him with Liu Kang or whatever.
Maybe he didn't kill him. Is he hard to kill?
I don't think you can kill these other realmers.
Is he like Dracula?
I thought everyone in the other realm is like immortal or some bullshit.
So what are they fighting about if they're all going to live forever?
I don't know.
Like, what the fuck? Just like let things go.
World domination or realm domination.
Realm domination. So the reason he had Sindel revived in Earthrealm is because, due to, I guess, League rules, that allows him to cross from his outworld that he rules into Earthrealm to retrieve her.
Right.
From her reviving.
He doesn't have to host it from Outer Realm
no,
like
there's
Mortal Kombat 2.
No hosting, no invites.
Yeah.
Save a lot on stationery and paper supplies.
Let them host over there
let them do the
in
fucking
Earthrealm.
hosting. Seriously. But anyway, because of this, and I don't know how this works, maybe some scientists out there can let me know. Because of him coming over into Earthrealm starts to merge with Outworld. Okay.
Don't ask me.
Is it a little convoluted, or is it just me?
It's just convoluted.
Okay.
It's just like, all it is just exists so that they know how to make the backgrounds look. Like, let's be honest.
Let's be honest. Now, Raiden, remember him from the first 2 games? He is like the thunder god of whatever Earthrealm. He is
like
able
the
to
protector. Or
He's
some
the protector.
Shit. Yeah,
and he protects a few people in Earthrealm, but the rest are stripped of their souls.
Right.
I've never had that done to me. Don't want it done to me.
Shut up!
Raiden cannot interfere, though, much beyond that. I guess because he has no power in Outworld, and because Outworld is merged with Earthrealm, he can't.
Now his powers are diminished or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
But the point here, Quinn, is the only way out of this predicament is, of course, another neatly organized fighting tournament.
Yep.
That's how you solve it in these realms here.
Yeah, both sides just agree, like, let the best man win, right?
The round system, very
like
gentlemanly.
Bars,
I don't know who set this up, but let's talk about the characters. This is always fun. Let's start with the returning characters. From Mortal Kombat 2 is Jax. That's Sonya Blade's special
and this
forces.
is the one where his arms got ripped off, and now he's got the metal arms, right? This is the one everyone knows.
His arms are cyborg. His arms are cyborg.
Exactly.
Yes.
He's cyborgish.
You a fan of Jax?
He's a cool idea for a character.
Yeah.
I think that, like,
he's pretty good.
He was generic in Mortal Kombat 2, but then, like, this gave him, like, a character, if you will. It was like, oh, he's the metal arm guy.
He's the metal arm guy. Returning from the first game, he was only in the background of one of the stages of Mortal Kombat 2. New outfit, still a dick, Kano.
Kano, which this just feels like, hey, people like played Kano in the first one, please bring him back.
It did kind of stink that he wasn't in 2. I did like Kano.
It was weird because he was kind of popular as far as like a playable character.
He ripped your heart out and stuff. So he was freed by Jax, but there's no gratefulness here. He's still on Shao Kahn's side.
I mean, Kano's always like a dick.
He's
anyway.
a big dick.
That's like his MO is I'm a jerk.
Yes, literally.
He's like the Brian Fury from Tekken. Like he's that of this.
He's
right?
Balrog.
Yeah, he's just like the jerk.
Yeah, he's just an asshole.
Like he's kind of crazy.
A loose cannon,
Brian
if you
Pillman,
will.
yeah.
He's Brian Pillman of Mortal Kombat.
Fuck. Did Kano play football for the fucking Cincinnati Bengals? Brr, my ass.
Next up, we've got returning from Mortal Kombat 2, Kung Lao.
Kung Lao, yes.
The hat.
With the hat. I mean, this was one of those, like, you knew they were gonna because he was so popular. And
He
like,
was.
people really liked this character.
He was a good new character.
Yeah, everyone
definitely.
was like, well, it would be dumb if Kung Lao wasn't in it. right?
Absolutely. And then his friend, of course, from the first two, the main character, technically, of the Mortal Kombat series so far, Liu Kang.
Liu Kang, which nowadays he's like a god of some kind in the current Mortal Kombat.
Is he?
I'm not even
How do
kidding.
they do that?
They just keep like elevating his like status over and over. He's never not the main character.
He should be. I mean, I think he's deserving of the main character
I guess
status.
he's just. I always felt he was like generic.
Well, I think that's the idea. He's supposed to be a broad appeal.
Yeah, I just mean to say is like he's almost like Fei Long from Street Fighter, who's not even a main character.
Well, yeah, that I don't know if that was Street Fighter. They say they were doing a Bruce Lee, but I think Capcom was doing a Liu Kang when they introduced Fei Long.
I don't know about that.
They say Bruce Lee.
Well, because his hair's like Bruce Lee too.
Still,
I don't know.
I think the idea was to get themselves
He's
a
not
Liu
doing
Kang.
Liu Kang's pose though. He's doing Bruce Lee's, like the way his legs are split.
I
I'm just saying.
He's played by a different guy. Not that it matters who plays them in the video game, whose face you see, but it's Eddie Wong.
Zero people care.
One or two people out there might care. If you do care about that, please let us know at AWM Podcast.
Well, unless Eddie Wong is listening. Maybe
Eddie, what's up, man?
Yeah,
Big fans of yours. This is a big one. Also, only in the background of Mortal Kombat 2, now back playable, is Sonya Blade.
About damn time.
Damn time.
I mean, it was kind of stupid that she was gone in the first place.
You know, it really was. I know they could only put so many characters in, and they probably wanted to introduce more new ones than returning in Mortal Kombat 2, but Sonya was obviously very popular.
Yeah.
The Chun-Li of the Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
like, seriously.
the chick from Terminator 2.
Linda Hamilton.
Linda Hamilton of Mortal Kombat.
She also kind of Sable from WWF in 98 would adopt that look.
I have to say, this new look, like her face is, like her hair is different. Like, what happened here?
Carrie Hoskins plays her now, a different person.
This does not look like the Sonya Blade.
It's not the same person.
She has like her belly button showing now. Like, it's like not the full whatever
Does
that was.
Does that offend you?
I just mean to say it just looks different. That's all.
Different person altogether.
Yeah.
See, it does matter who plays them, Quinn.
Yeah.
Carrie was easily one of the best people we worked with in terms of actors playing the characters.
Yes, I still have the Sonya costume.
Now, this one has a little meat on the bone to discuss, Quinn.
Yeah, this is like the big one.
In the first game, we talked about Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
Popular, the blue ninja, right?
The Ryu and Ken of the game.
Right, yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They literally are. We talked about last time in Mortal Kombat 2 how Sub-Zero was in MK2. However, the original Sub-Zero became Noob Saibot.
Which I guarantee you 99% of people who played had no idea that was a thing.
Oh, no.
I definitely did.
If you did, who cares, right?
Yeah.
So the Sub-Zero of Mortal Kombat 2 was the younger brother of the original. Now, it is still him here in Mortal Kombat 3. However, this was a big step. They took the old ninja costume off, but not only the costume, the mask.
This to me was a bit of a stretch.
You didn't like?
I just...
No?
It's not even like he has like he just looks so average now, right? Is like he just looks like also I always thought he looked older for whatever reason. He looks like a 40-year-old man or something.
He looks like he should be starring in an RKO picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
40s, you know?
It's like a businessman, but with like a ninja gi on.
Like he has a hat, a fedora that you can't see in a briefcase somewhere, right? In his trench coat.
This is part of the, like, because I picked Sub-Zero a lot, because who didn't? Like,
well, he was like the test character, any new game.
Right, so it was just like, why are we doing this to him? Like, what is this?
Do you think part of this, Quinn, and this could just be conjecture on my part, I'm sure it is, we know that they made a follow-up game that was a spin-off, Sub-Zero, Mortal Kombat
this was
mythology.
absolutely why they, like, changed the look of him, because they were like, we know we're going to make, like, a whole thing about him.
So to distinguish him from the previous ninja costume...
They didn't want him to look like Scorpion, They want him to look very distinct.
But you're not a big fan of the redesign?
I don't like it.
Okay.
I never did.
Never did?
Oh, man. That's pretty cold. Get it? Cold? Because he's Sub-Zero? Hey, go...
I know that you also have a big problem with... the appearance of the next character who's returning from both games, Shang Tsung.
Bullshit.
Why?
What is this hair? Like, it's awful. And he's all like, ew, like he's like goofy again. Like he looked like a badass in the second one.
He
like,
did.
I was like, this guy looks awesome.
Can I tell you, Quinn, that the guy playing him here, John Turk, is the same guy that plays Sub-Zero.
That's terrible.
A wig. That's the hair.
It's so bad. This was one of the most like egregious ones to me because you know what the thing about the second one was is he looked more like a fighter, and like that was such a contrast to like the old man who could like barely move in the first one.
That bullshit.
Yeah, and then it's like it's back to like wizard mode in this shit, and I know it's like young wizard, and I don't like it.
Junior wizard.
It was like the second one was perfect.
And then this is interesting. It's technically a returning character, but not in ninja form. From Mortal Kombat 2, a hidden character known as Smoke. But now, what is he, Quinn?
He's a robot. He's a cyborg or whatever.
He's a cyborg.
So this is the new trend. It's like anybody who's a ninja is now a robot.
Right. There's no standard ninjas. Like Sub-Zero, no mask, no ninja costume.
Scorpion's
not even in the game. Yeah. Although...
How do you not have Scorpion?
Well, that was a big controversy amongst fans.
What the fuck is that?
That is some shit, right? It's like not having Ken.
Right. But so they did try to like make up for this with Cyrax, or is he the one?
Yes.
The one that's like yellow.
So as we get into the new characters here, Cyrax is one of 3 cyborg characters that looks identical to the Smoke cyborg except for the color, and he's the golden one, so there's always the fan theory.
It's not even just that, it's that fact that he has the spear, but it comes out of his like robot belly or whatever.
Sector, who's the red one, he has the spear.
Oh.
Cyrax has a giant web, though, that catches you and pulls you to
Right, sorry,
forward.
I'm mixing them up.
Well, they're the same thing.
The point is they like, it's like they took some of Scorpion's moves and like placed them into each of these robots.
They did.
Like, it's very dumb.
Who we call Ketchup right now, because right now there's a red guy and there's a yellow guy, so we call them Ketchup and Mustard. But they will have real names later on.
So Cyrax and Sector are the 2 new cyborgs to join
Why
Smoke.
not just have, Scorpion? Like, if anything,
fair.
Here would be something, right?
Okay.
If anything, take the mask off Scorpion and he's got a skull head.
Well, because then his fatality.
Because if Sub-Zero's got no mask, now Scorpion can take his mask off all the time. He can show off his skull head.
What can he show off?
His skull head.
Checking.
It's real.
It's real. Another new character, we talked about her in the beginning, the queen of Shao Kahn's king, Sindel, who bears a striking resemblance, in my opinion, Quinn, to Storm.
Or Maud or something.
Maud?
Yeah.
What do you think of Sindel? Whatever?
So, no, actually.
Oh, okay.
The one thing that I thought she was one of those characters that immediately I found out she could fly, and I was like very interested in this character because I was like, huh? Like flying in a fighting game? That's like nothing I've ever seen before. So I looked up on the book how to do it or whatever, and I was like, this is amazing. Like
the Mortal
you can
Kombat
like
book.
fly around and shoot projectiles. I'm like, there's like nobody like this in any fighting game at this point.
So thumbs up to Sindel?
I was okay with this. I thought this was neat. Like, this is actually like more akin to like a Bison, where it's like the moves are kind of wacky.
Yeah, psycho power, if you will, right? Seriously, she's like the psycho power character in this game.
Like, I thought this was like actually interesting.
Very good. I'm not a big fan of the next one. This is some of the characters that they introduced get some flack, and I think it's deserved flack. Cabal.
I know you hate. Yeah, I know. Like you've said, how much
it's like a doofus
to me in the past that you hate Cabal. I know it's like due to the mask. However,
he just looks dumb.
I do know he's one of the 2 characters that's like notably fucking broken, like as far as like combos and shit like that. Like we'll get into like the run thing, but like this guy has some bullshit. Like he is. Oh, you see a lot of combo videos online of this guy.
Really?
You know, yeah.
There's a big like Cabal following on the internet.
It's real. Like a lot of this game is broken shit, Joe, and like Cabal's part of that. Like. Let's be real.
There is a bit of a theory that this is not as finished as they wanted it to be.
There's no way it's as finished as they want it to be.
Hence some later upgrades, which we'll get to.
Call your local K-ball operator.
The other one, Quinn, I don't think, if I recall correctly, that you're a fan of. That would be Nightwolf, a Native American character.
Because he's like kind of a blatant ripoff of T-Hawk. Even down to the blue and everything.
And the armbands.
Like the color scheme, and like obviously he's a Native American. But like I'm just saying, I always felt that this was like, oh, let's just copy T-Hawk.
You think so?
Absolutely.
You ever pick him?
I think I tried him before, but like, he's got an axe. That's cool.
He does have, doesn't it glow or something?
Yeah, and he can do combos with it, and he can throw it. It's cool.
Nightwolf, let us know what you think, folks. this was a bit of fan service in a way for those who wanted to play as Goro but never could.
This was long overdue to me.
Yeah, so this is Shiva, who is of the same race as Goro, which I think is... I don't have it in front of me. A Shotkan or something? That's a race.
Whatever they are,
it's the same species as Goro.
But so there are a couple things here.
4 arms.
One thing I did notice they picked the lady version because obviously it's a little smaller so that she would like not be way too overpowering on the characters.
I think
like,
you're right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Is like, because Kentaro and Goro were supposed to be like bosses or whatever. They were supposed to be like ridiculous.
Large.
But she fights like normally somewhat, but still like a Goro or a Kentaro.
Goro-ish, yeah. The other thing is they gave her breasts.
Well, yeah.
Got some breasts.
She's the sexy Goro.
Just say sexy Goro, just
Sexy
what we all
Goro,
were clamoring for.
She even has makeup on, if you notice.
She does, yeah. She's got like a very...
I mean, you got to flirt with the male Goros or whatever.
Looks like she's playing for Wendy O. Williams or something. Anywho, the final new playable character... Striker.
This guy looks like a garbage man. This is another broken ass characters. Like it's him and Cabal that are like stupid because he has like a machine gun and shit. But he looks like Duke the Dumpster Rosie or some shit.
Looks like he stumbled into this by accident.
Why does his arms have to look like a Tyrannosaurus or some shit? Like, what is that? Like, why does he look like that?
He looks like a middle-aged man that just got dragged into this crap. You know what I mean?
It's like the fucking Mortal Kombat like fights were on his block or something, and he came out of his house. He's like, what the fuck? And then just like gets this machine gun out of the closet and like joins in.
All he was trying to do is go to Rickle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get some grass seed. He's got to deal with this Earthrealm bullshit. So you're not a fan of Striker?
It's like if Archie Bunker was like in Mortal Kombat or something.
Hey, Edith with the forearms there.
What the fuck are they doing out there?
Edith, did you meathead? Huh?
Knock it the hell off.
Sorry about that. He got a lot of criticism for being this out-of-place character.
Yeah, they kept him forever, though.
I think it's justified in universe, Quinn, because this takes place in like the West, and he is a New Yorker.
What's weird about him, though, is he's supposed to be, like, some special forces shit or whatever.
He's some kind of thing, yeah.
But he doesn't look like it. Got, like, a gut. Like, what the fuck?
Well, he likes his McDonald's, Quinn.
I don't know. Like, it's almost like Bobby Heenan or something.
Stop it, Bobby Heenan.
Yeah.
Stop it, Bobby Heenan.
Okay, so we talked about...
Horrible. Just terrible.
Folks, if you're a Striker fan, we mean you no ill will. Yeah. Let us know. So we talked about how Mortal Kombat 2, Kentaro was a bit of a coldly recepted replacement for Goro, would you say?
Yeah, because it was just kind of like, can't they just have Goro? It wasn't that much different about him, except he didn't have hair.
Like, and he had the tiger stripes on his back or something. I just didn't
like it.
I didn't like it either because it felt very sub.
It's just like, we want Goro. Just give us Goro. Or like Goro Jr. or whatever the fuck if the other one's dead. Right?
It's kind of like how in Back to the Future 2, it wasn't Crispin Glover.
Yeah.
I don't know why I get that feeling.
I never even you know what's funny about that is like I barely noticed that because he's supposed to be like dead or whatever.
Yeah, but in the 1955 scenes, they do like some faraway shots and it's Jeffrey Weissman or something with prosthetics.
Also, they use so many other scenes from the first movie anyway, so it's just like kind of like you barely see that it's like fake version.
I guess you're right, but that's my point is that it's kind of like, why don't you just give us the real thing? Come on, Crispin Glover.
I think you're more thinking of, Joe, how like his girlfriend Jennifer is Elizabeth Shue in the second movie.
Oh, and not Claudia Wells?
Yeah, yeah.
That's probably a better comparison.
Is super weird.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Hey, I went to the future once. A long time ago.
Who we have, though, in Mortal Kombat 3, because Kentaro's dead or gone, it doesn't matter. He sucks, right? Fuck Kentaro. That's going to be our first Ass Wash Memories t-shirt. Fuck Kentaro.
He stinks.
Who we have now is not a four-armed, like, Goro-esque character.
I think this is worse.
Really? I think it's better.
I think it's hideous.
Before we
let's just make it crappier instead of just putting fucking Goro in the game. Like, please.
Who we have is Motaro, who is not four-armed. He actually has 4 legs and 2 arms because he's a centaur.
He's a centaur, yeah.
He's a horse.
He's not even like a centaur because he's not even a person. He's like...
He's person-esque.
He's like if a horse evolved to become civilized or some shit, so they grew arms. You know what I'm saying? Like,
would you say he ponied up?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but no.
It's like if the horses started their own like separate thing on Earth, like separately of the humans. Like they became smart enough.
Kind of like Planet of
They
the
were getting
Apes,
tired of being ridden. Like they were
Right.
just like, fuck this.
I don't want to be ridden anymore.
It's like if they want to go fast, use some other species.
You know who would love that, by the way? Mike Francesa.
Yeah.
Wait a second, are the horses taking over?
Yeah.
Oh, I love the horses.
Planet of horses.
I met Motaro.
Yeah.
You know? Well, also, his tail is obnoxious, by the way, Motaro's tail.
Everything about him is weird. And, like, why is his tail, like, metallic or some shit?
Right,
or is that, like, armor so that it hits harder? I don't know.
And it's shaped like a gerbil tail.
Yeah.
I'm not really kidding. Like, it
I
is.
don't know, Joe. I just never liked this.
Really? So I found him...
Remember how you uppercut him and he, like, no-sells it or whatever?
Yeah, he
It's
doesn't...
fucking bullshit.
He doesn't fly into the air.
Yeah.
That's right, he doesn't. Well, horses are heavy.
I get it, but still.
You know how much horsepower he has?
I don't know.
One.
Well, one.
Sorry.
Because it's just him, right?
Yes. But anyway, I found it to be novel because at least it wasn't yet another Goro like permutation.
I guess. But
You know what
again,
I'm saying?
I just think like most people just want it. Could you just put Goro back in the game? How about that?
That would have
Like,
been better.
Yeah, it's
yes.
like I think everyone would just be happy.
Yes. And then
It's just like Shao Kahn's just like my trusted minion. I've resurrected him or some shit.
I would have been great with
Yeah.
it. Fine. We don't
Yeah.
even need to know why, right?
Yeah.
Just, Goro's back. Cool.
Yeah.
And then obviously Shao Kahn is the final boss. And there's a hidden character who is in Mortal Kombat 2.
Mm-hmm.
The all-black silhouette of a ninja known as Noob Saibot from Boone Tobias, of course.
Noob Saibot, the like ultimate secret people character.
In this game, because there's no ninjas, his sprite is actually a black silhouette of Kano. It's like the
Gotcha.
closest they could get. That's just
And
a little
it just-
trivia.
It gets the job done.
Here's some of the omissions that people were pissed about. Raiden, Baraka. He was popular.
First of all, how do you not have Raiden? That's
I
like
know!
that's like one of the like standard characters.
Shouldn't you have Raiden?
Yeah.
Katana Molina.
That's dumb because they were like fixtures in the second. They were like one of the main people.
They were.
Right?
The people loved them, especially you. You're a big Molina fan.
She was good.
Scorpion, who we talked about, not in the frigging game.
Yeah.
Annoying.
It's a lot of a Scorpion too. It's like, man.
And what about this one? This guy was killed by Motaro in canon. Johnny Cage.
Can't get rid of Johnny Cage.
It's like getting
It's
rid
another
of Guile.
one. It's like you can't get rid of like the original 8 or whatever they were.
Yeah.
However many there were.
Six, 7.
Yeah.
7.
Like it's like those guys just they need to be in the game. Period. End of story.
Right.
Like they're like the original characters.
Correct.
right?
I agree with you. Let's talk about here the gameplay differences. I know you have some bones to pick when the biggest thing is the addition of the run button.
Hate it. Absolutely hate it.
Would you articulate?
Because when I was playing it by myself as a kid, right? You know, I wasn't playing it in the arcade. I was playing in my house. So I'm practicing and stuff.
Yes.
And then you go to the arcade and you come to find out everyone just abuses the run button.
Right.
Like I was like, what the fuck would you even need the run button for? Then you find out, oh, they can just like run at you and just punch and just do shit. And it's just like, I hate this.
And this
like,
offends you.
It offends me because it's nothing like how Street Fighter is, where it's kind of like, it's more you have to like think about getting your openings and stuff like that, where it's like they call it footsies, where you're like literally poking with like sweeps and kicks and stuff.
Yeah,
to try
I
to, like,
love doing that.
To try to like get in on them.
Do it all the time.
Right? This just removes that. Everyone's just running at each other. I hate it. I absolutely detest it.
It fundamentally changed the way the game played.
Yeah, it totally, the whole flow of it's different, and they never got off this. It's all about the long combo strings, right? Even like if you played a new one, any of the new ones, it's always that. Street Fighter still very strictly adheres to like even 6, like the newest one. You got to work to get in there and like hit them, right? The most combo you're going to get is probably like if you did like a 4-hit combo and then did a super, and even that would be like 12 hits, or like it's nothing in comparison to like, oh, just hit him for like 26 moves or some shit. It's like, what the like what? Like this isn't Marvel vs. Capcom.
It is not. No, it's not. So it sullied it for you a little bit.
Yeah, it's
there was
just
some
weird.
sullying.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think of the combat codes? That's where on the Versus screen there's like 6 symbols
I
that
had
you
no
can flip
clue what
around.
they meant. They were like Greek to me. I was like, what the fuck is that shit?
I think they did that so people would have to buy the strategy guide and
Yeah.
look up what they are, right?
Yeah, I
I'm
was like,
pretty sure.
What? Huh?
That's just marketing. Because
Like
it's
before the fight, here's a million symbols
Yeah.
or whatever, and I'm like, what does that mean?
Well,
Like,
yeah, no kid knew it first, but you always had to do it anyway,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Couldn't just let it be. You had to fumble around.
But you fumble around in the hope that something happens, which 99% of the time, nothing happens.
Agreed. One of the other things is a new style of fatality. So there was like a schoolyard rumor, we'll call it, about Mortal Kombat 2 because they had introduced so many new things in Mortal Kombat 2.
Yeah, babality and friendship and all that.
Right, and multiple regular fatalities.
Yeah.
There were these rumors, you know how rumors get started, somebody says something, blah, blah, that there were these animal fatalities where you turn into an animal.
Yeah, my uncle works at Midway, and
Right.
he knows the secret animal fatalities.
Yeah, my uncle works at Midway, that old routine, right? So Midway having a sense of humor, they said, you know what, let's just really do it. Let's introduce animalities.
So somebody's uncle actually was able to make it happen, huh?
I believe so. So thank you, whoever was so avuncular.
Thank you, Uncle Jim or whatever.
Uncle Jim of Midway.
Yeah.
Hey, you're fucking welcome.
Sorry.
It's true.
Uncle Jim. So this is where the character turns into an animal of some kind and eats the opponent as an animal might.
See, I wasn't really in on these rumors about this, and when I even heard about animalities being in MK3, I'm like, that's lame. Because I was like, I was like, what is this, Animorphs? Like, what the fuck is this shit?
I was rather indifferent to the whole thing, too.
I was kind of like, give me more regular fatalities, because those are the coolest ones.
And also, give me Scorpion in the game while you're at it.
Like, the babalities and
those
the
are dumb.
friendships and all that shit, that was just optional, like, horse shit, and it was universal to every character.
Yes.
Like, they weren't considered, like, the main ones. They were just kind of, like, funnies that, like, existed
Correct.
on top of it. It's like, but instead, they're like, how about we have more funnies, right, with the animalities? It's true.
Funnies, yes. No, you're right. Let's talk about the stages here. That's the last element to discuss is the stages. So we talked about the aesthetic being different. I like a couple of these stages, but not a lot. So
most of them are terrible.
I think you're right. So there's the subway, which is, believe it or not,
a subway.
Subway, yeah. And it's not very inspiring. I'm going to be honest with you.
It's like nothing.
It looks like a bad Capcom
this is
88 stage.
This is a really, I want to say a weakness of this game is the stages are just trash.
Yeah,
like,
I think they're that great.
Like this is so basic. It's just like a bench with some pillars and the tracks.
Yeah.
Like it's like, okay.
Like we got it. We're in an urban area now.
Yeah.
Now you can, in some of these stages, uppercut people through to another stage,
and
which is
like,
cool.
Now, okay, so I think the more I think about it, the more I think that's like part of the reason they're lame is because they had to like connect them all together. And they have to like structurally make sense in a certain way.
True.
I do think that's like part of what happened here.
Maybe you're right.
But it's like incessant, by the way, like now, like how easy it is to like just go between stages. Like it just happens like all the fucking time.
There's a bunch, yeah. Like from the subway, you go to the street, which is a street, and it's got like
paper.
And a dumpster, and Shao Kahn's whatever the fuck castle that is.
That's not a dumpster. That's the entrance to the subway.
Oh, no shit. You're right. Yeah, it's got graffiti on it. I couldn't tell.
Why'd you pronounce it graffiti? Weird guy.
It looks like a dumpster.
It does.
But it's curved. I can tell it's like the roof of something that's going down.
It's curved, Quinn.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going down, all right.
It's the wood that makes it good.
Let's go to the bank. Yes, that's a stage.
Yeah, the bank.
You know what what is it, Quinn?
It's a bank. Well, I didn't even know that this was a fucking bank when I was a kid. It just looked like some building, like with pillars in it. I'm like, oh, I'm in some office of some kind or whatever this is.
Let the lobby of like a skyscraper.
Yeah, it's just like the bank.
It's the bank, and
where's the tellers? Like, where's the ATM machine?
Yeah, where's the monies?
Wait a second. They have pillars in the bank. You can take a nap there. Back after this.
And Shao Kahn's castle, again, visible in the back. How did he get a castle built in Earthrealm,
First of
by
all,
the way?
it doesn't even look like a castle. It just looks like another, like an office. It's like the Shao Kahn Corporation or something. It's like here.
That's funny.
Yeah. I put a face on my office building.
Some people do.
Yeah.
This one's not that great, to be honest with you. But you can get uppercutted from the bank to the rooftop. Yes.
The rooftop.
That's the rooftop of the bank. Where
Which just also looks way too similar to the street.
Yeah, because the same bullshit's in the background again, the Shao Kahn thing. It's uninspired.
Is that like a tram or some shit that's supposed to like connect it to Shao Kahn's house or whatever?
No, that's a building.
I don't know.
It's poor. It's what it is. Okay. There is the balcony. Yes, the balcony.
The balcony. Yeah, this crap where it's like Motaro statues in the corner. It looks like a cavern of some kind.
Yeah, it's where you fight
Motaro. Where's the sky if it's a balcony?
Know.
This is these
poor.
stages. They're just terrible.
This is almost like a a redo of Goro's lair, but brighter. Like aesthetically, you know what I'm saying?
The balcony, though, is supposed to be like connected to that whatever that green pool in the back is, because that's like another stage.
Yes, okay. So there's the Soul Chamber. Like, can we just say the Soul Chamber is stupid?
Oh, the Soul Chamber sucks. It's just like, I don't know, it's some like gargoyle with green crap in his mouth.
It's terrible. And then
what is wrong with this game? Like, why do they do this?
Now, we've also got...
It's not even like... Listen, I know that Street Fighter also fumbled a bit with its third game, but at least it looks cool.
It does look cool, yeah. We got the bridge, which might be one of the most...
This looks like I went to Stryker's house. This is like his block or whatever.
This is literally just like a city bridge, and you see like garbage on the floor and like
It's a lot of garbage in this game.
You got that
Very
right.
indicative of what's going on here.
This reminded me...
This is the most uninspired one.
Yes, I agree with you.
Yeah.
This reminds me of Final Fight.
Yeah, I guess.
Which came out in 1989.
But if you're just passing through, it's not even one of the like good parts.
No,
of it.
it's just like when you're Hager and you're just walking and you punch a mad gear or whatever.
Yeah,
Just
not
keep
even
moving.
like at the end of it where it looks cool and you're fighting a boss or something.
Not a boss battle. Just like here you are playing the game, wasting your parents' quarters. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's also the.
I like how we're just so like indignant of
we're so mean today.
I don't know. It's just. It's like disappointing to me. It's like, to me, the downfall of Mortal Kombat, in my head at least.
Listen, I think most of the time we talk about things that we both like. However, I think it would be dishonest if we were just heaping praise upon things that we didn't care for.
It's true.
You know, there's the bell tower, which I don't even remember this stage.
Yeah, the picture online doesn't look like anything from the game, and I'm like 99% sure it's the wrong picture. But
I think it is.
Either way, I don't even remember what the fuck the bell tower was anyway.
And you know what? I don't really care that much. Same thing with the temple.
Yep, awful.
And there's the graveyard. I don't know much about it. However, most notably, Pit 3, Quinn. What do you think of Pit 3?
Now, Pit 3, okay. This is fine. I like that the pit's back, right?
Okay.
The problem is it's like in a dome of some kind. So just like the cool shit about the other pits was like you could like see stuff in the distance. Like especially the second one where it's like you can like see Liu Kang burning someone's body apart or some shit.
Is it Liu Kang?
Yeah, he's like on the like opposite pit.
Yeah,
like,
I know
there's
what you
like
mean.
a second pit.
The parallel pit.
The parallel pit. Like Liu Kang's dealing with some shit on the other side.
He's fucking shit up.
Yeah, and then like somebody's like head's burnt off or whatever, I guess from his like projectile.
Yeah, I think so.
Either way, this is just
grungy.
Yeah, this looks like it's like sewer shark or some shit. Like what the hell?
2-word review for you, Quinn.
All I have is a 2-word review. Shit shark.
And then there's a couple of hidden stages. Smoke's Portal, that's where you fight Smoke, and Noob's Dorphin, of course. Which
Noob's Dorphin. This shit is what's behind the balcony.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right about that. So, okay. Mortal Kombat 3, you can tell we really like it, but what did the people think? In April of 95, it was released, and it was pretty expectedly the most popular arcade game in the United States for May of 95.
So this is the thing where I think it starts to kick in, that because Mortal Kombat's violent, it doesn't necessarily have to be good to sell.
Like horror movies.
Yeah. It just makes a ton of money because people just
it has
like,
its audience.
Like the camp and to me it starts to lose its way at this point. It's like it stopped being like both good and campy. It's just campy.
You think so?
And that shit just sells a lot. And like it's annoying because Capcom and some other companies too started to step it up, like Sega and Namco with their fighting games, and they were really good, and SNK and everything. But like Mortal Kombat, it felt like they kept like changing shit and like making it like not as good, but they were still selling better than everybody. It didn't make any sense.
Well,
right?
sometimes that happens.
Yeah,
Glenn, you know.
The other ones are like trying new things and actually being interesting, and like in retrospectively, they're considered some of the best fighting games ever. But they can't even like nobody will buy them.
I think what you're trying to say is you don't like this game very much, do you? That's
it's
what I'm
more
gathering
because
here.
of what it represents. It represents like the turning point of where Mortal Kombat could have been like one way, the good way, like Mortal Kombat 2. And instead it just went its own, like whatever the fuck they wanted. I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. Home versions obviously came out for this. You guys know that. For all the big consoles of the time, obviously Super Nintendo and Genesis. Game Boy got a version. Game Gear, but only in Europe and Japan because the U.S. had given up on Game Gear by 95. Like,
funny enough, because it's like the most advanced, you'd think like by now, like, oh, we would like actually need the technology in Game Gear to like make these games still work on here. But like, no, let's just keep making them on Game Boy.
Yeah, that's what they did. And in early 96, the 32-bit consoles, PlayStation, got their own versions.
Now, I remember that being the first time, at least for fighting games specifically, we're like, okay, like this extra horsepower is starting to like make sense.
Yeah.
Because like the fighting games were really starting to like really push the arcade hardware to like do more stuff. And like the consoles were really having to struggle to like keep up with it.
Right.
It wasn't as easy to like approximate anymore.
No, that's a good point. The biggest drawback of the PlayStation version was the loading time, obviously.
Right.
That was the big thing that got a lot of criticism for.
But still, it looked much closer to the arcades.
Yeah, and the sound was always better, too. Reception-wise on the home versions, it was one of Super Nintendo's best sellers of 95. I remember when this was coming out. I remember it being a huge deal when it was coming out.
Yep, I definitely got it because, again, I didn't know they were going to, like, completely change the damn game.
Yeah,
like,
I was
like,
betrayed.
This one hurt. Like, I'll be honest with you.
You love 2. You played 2 all the time.
I did.
I get a feeling you didn't play this one much.
I got it. There was, like, a weird period where I was, like, trying to, like, well, maybe it's good. And, like, maybe if I just, like, play it more, right? And it just never stuck with me.
Never clicked for you the way 2 did?
Now, what's interesting is that I always felt that the Ultimate and the Trilogy, the, like, different versions of Mortal Kombat 3 were, like, way better.
Yeah.
But they were still on this system.
They were still on this engine.
Which is just the only, like, annoying aspect to me is, like, man, especially, like, Ultimate and Trilogy where there's, like, a zillion characters, I was like, wow, this would be really cool if it was in Mortal Kombat 2's style, right?
Yeah, I know. Well, listen, critically, this was, for your edification, less well received than Mortal Kombat 2. Yeah. Some direct quotes include stupid finishing moves like animalities.
It's weird. Everyone wanted them, and then they're like, this sucks. Like, what?
And campy character design. Which I do agree with. Cabal!
No offense, though.
Striker!
That's not saying much considering, like, the other ones were campy anyway.
Well, Baraka was cool.
These are, like, the worst criticisms. Like,
I didn't say them.
What they should have said is, like, wow, that run button sucks ass. Like, and, like, why are they driving the game into a more combo-driven thing? Like,
that's what you would say, yes.
That's what I would say.
That's what you would say.
Like, combos are fine, but you either got to go all in or not. And Mortal Kombat's still, like, treading this line.
You're right.
Like, still, it's, like, still a little... Yeah, I say the run button, like, speeds it up, but Mortal Kombat's still slow.
I know.
Like, it's not like the Versus series.
It's
like,
nothing
where it's
like that.
where it's, like... It's completely different.
Correct.
Right? Like, to me, it handles its combo stuff way better.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
My favorite combos are the pepperoni pizza flavored ones, brother. Yeah, with a little salt on the cracker. It's a cracker, right? What are them thingies made out of anyway?
Let's talk about the reception of the Genesis and the Super Nintendo. They were well received as far as, kit convert, as far as ports.
Mm-hmm.
Even Genesis. I have never played the Genesis version, ever. Not even via emulation of Mortal Kombat 3.
I gotta try that
no
one day.
desire to.
I'm just
right?
curious, like, what it even is.
There are people who are Genesis loyalists, and there's nothing wrong with that say that the Mortal Kombat 3 for Genesis is better than Super Nintendo. I just can't speak to it because I've never played it.
No offense, based on their performance in Mortal Kombat 2 and how that looked, I can't imagine this looks good on Genesis.
Well, it might. I've never played it. So I'm keeping completely neutral.
The character's like tiny, probably, and like, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
like there's like a big black bars and stuff because they can't even like fit the whole game in. You know how it is on Genesis. It's like always dumpier, and people like make a bunch of excuses for it. It's true. Like, I'm so tired of this. Like, I love a lot of Genesis shit, right? Like, Castlevania on there is good, and like Sonic and all this stuff. But by the time we get to like MK3, like this late, I mean, this freaking thing's hanging on by a thread, technologically, like, in my opinion. I don't know why people can't just, like, accept that.
Silent Q15 on Twitter.
Like, seriously.
Michael Quinn on our Facebook group.
You need to put 32 X's and CDs on this thing just to even manage it. Maybe they should just upgrade it. That would have been a good idea.
That would have been a good idea, folks. A good idea is for us to take a break for a minute here. We've talked about Mortal Kombat 3, the characters, the stages, the changes, and the somewhat lukewarm reception. But on the other side of this break, we're going to talk about what Midway did in response to that reception. That coming up here when more Acid Wash Memories returns.
They are calling it the hottest, most successful fighting game of all time, Mortal Kombat 3. Now with us tonight is the creator of the Mortal Kombat videos, Ed Boon, who's sitting right next to me, and John Tobias. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you. You know, as these things evolve, parents are getting a bit concerned because they get more and more graphic, and they are accusing you, or at least other critics as well, that you're marketing gratuitous violence with real no end in sight. I mean, the games do nothing except sit there and you watch people die. Are you?
Absolutely not. I mean, what we provide is a form of entertainment in the form of a video game. The violent aspect of the video game is a minor aspect in the overall scheme of the game itself. The players, I think, are aware of that. We're aware of that. Maybe somebody looking on the outside, unfamiliar with the game itself.
What do kids learn, Mr. Boone, out of this? What do they learn?
There's no learning value. It's just like any other form of entertainment. There's just you go there to have fun. You go there to play the game. Most of the people who critics of the game haven't even played the game.
My name's Dan Ford, and I do sounds and music. And tell people.
I'd like to present this to the man who's done so much for Big Eaters, Mr. Dave Thomas, founder of Wendy's.
3 years ago, I had a dream to make Wendy's Big Bacon Classic Cheeseburger to satisfy the biggest eater. With a quarter pound of fresh ground beef, processed cheese, bacon, not 2 strips, 3 strips, plus a pile of Biggie fries and a medium drink. And when I thought it was too big, I said, now it's perfect.
Wendy's Big Bacon Classic Combo, the official meal of the Big Eaters Club.
So let's eat.
And now we return to more acid-washed memories.
And welcome back to Acid Wash Memories, episode number 79. I am Joe Morata, alongside the biggest Genesis fan you've ever met, Michael Quinn.
Howdy.
Howdy. How you doing over there?
Good.
You don't like this game. We've
No,
established. You're
but
not a fan.
I was saying earlier, and I know we're going to talk about it soon, I think Ultimate and Trilogy definitely helped a little bit, because at least like the characters thing and having like most, if not all, the Mortal Kombat characters, it did kind of give me a little like an excuse card, if you will, for this.
Sure.
Because it was like, well, that's cool. Like Street Fighter even isn't doing this, where it's like, we're bringing back fucking everyone.
Well, Street Fighter did Super Turbo, which was kind of, here, let's just talk about it. So follow us on Twitter. You guys know that, right?
Yeah, that's a thing we do.
Join our group, and please leave us a review. We really do like it when you do that. So we talked about the reception here of Mortal Kombat 3, and it wasn't all wine and roses the way 2 was.
Right, because they just kept changing shit, and like people were like, what?
And it was somewhat half-baked, I think people thought.
A lot of, though, the criticism was around the character choice, I think.
That was one of the things, is like, what did you do with our characters that we like?
That was a lot of it. It wasn't actually like, I don't think people fully grasped the change in the actual fighting system back when it came out. Like,
probably other than the run button, no.
Yeah, but I was already seeing what people were like. I remember noticing, like, wow, people are playing this game like way fucking different than the other one.
Yes, agreed. So Midway basically did an upgrade kit to Mortal Kombat 3, much in the same way that Capcom upgraded Super Street Fighter to Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
Right.
Because of the same reason. Like, this is kind of unfinished and not what we wanted. And this led to, in arcades in November of 95, and the home consoles in 96, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3.
Right. So this is like
a good game.
To me, this is like, oh, Mortal Kombat 3, the real version.
Yes.
Like, I think there's so many people out there that, like, And I don't know how this happened because MK3 was so popular when it came out, but I remember like a lot of people own this Ultimate version, like some even more so than the original.
Did they? I never owned it. I did rent it though a bunch. I really liked it.
I didn't own it either, but because I didn't like Mortal Kombat 3. But my friend did, and I was like, this is fucking awesome. Like, I was like, damn, like, okay.
I think this did a lot to address the concern. So let's just start with the fighter. So we get... It's all the characters, obviously, from MK3. This follows the same general plot, because that matters, in stages.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Jade comes back.
Right.
Remember Jade from the Hidden in Mortal Kombat 2?
Yeah.
Kitana comes back.
Thank goodness. Right? It's like, jeez.
Scorpion is back.
This one, it was like baffling in the fucking first place that he was gone. Like people were like, huh?
Yeah.
Like, it was like so stupid.
Smoke in human form also comes back, by the way. He's a hidden character.
Thank goodness.
Reptile is here.
That was he was just weirdly missing. Nobody even noticed, to be quite
Yeah, that is true, I'll be honest. And then there were some hidden unlockables.
Yeah, this is where I take a little umbrage, is like, wait a sec, more hidden? Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, why can't we just put them in the damn game?
Because there's combat codes and people pay money.
We don't give a shit about the combat.
But they pay the money to get it.
Combat codes.
There's a horse. Melina.
I don't understand why she's like a code. Like the other ones I can because they're just different or whatever.
You just like Melina more, the katana.
Yeah, that too. She doesn't seem like somebody worth a secret for, though.
You wouldn't pay money to unlock Melina?
Why would I pay money? Combat code. I'd just look it up. I'd go to ShopRite.
Sages.ign.com.
I just go to ShopRite and just look at the code and write it down or something.
That's supposed to do that.
Piece of paper.
I kind of like this. Classic Sub-Zero, the ninja version, is unlockable.
This was like, again, this just, you know what's so funny about this to me? It's just like, it's what it should have fucking been.
I agree with you.
What the hell?
It's what it should have been. And Ermac, who is new, this is
Now, this is like the actual, like, new secret person.
Yeah, so Ermac... I want to explain the backstory. He looks completely different now. If you've ever, don't look him up now and think this is what it is. He's a red ninja,
if I recall.
So from the original Mortal Kombat game, an error would come up that stood for error macro, ERMAC.
Okay, so it was like an actual error code. It meant something to the developers.
Yes, but it would show you a glitched ninja that was red, like a Scorpion or Sub-Zero, but in red. And because there was Reptile that was green, people were like, oh, that's the other guy, Ermac.
People like interpreted the code incorrectly.
So it's another one of those Shang Long type of situations.
They're just like, oh, that's funny. Let's make him a character.
Exactly. And then, of course, there are hidden opponents, such as Rain. Now this
Rain. This is kind of lame.
This is a purple ninja that is called Rain because of Prince's Purple Rain. I'm not kidding.
I didn't even know that's why. I thought, didn't he have some weather-based attacks too?
Yes, but it's like a joke character kind of. Like it was.
I didn't know it was based off Prince.
It is based off Prince, yeah. Can we also mention, we alluded to this at the top of the show, but Toasty has returned.
We didn't even mention Toasty.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Toasty! Dan Forden, who did Toasty in Mortal Kombat 2.
His updated picture for this time period.
He's got purple shirt in this one.
Purple shirt, and his hair is different.
Yeah, it's like not combed as well or something.
I don't know. Either way,
floppier.
It's so funny to me that guy, like... The funny is when you see like the later Mortal Kombat and he got like gray hair and shit, and you're just like, wow, they just like, it's almost like when they make a new Mortal Kombat, they call up Dan to send his picture in or some shit. Like, he definitely doesn't work there anymore.
How do you know?
Well, I mean, he probably gets royalties and shit. I mean, he's in the game.
Do you get royalties for composing music in a video game? I'm not joking.
Absolutely.
You do?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It's not like every time someone plays the thing or something.
Saying.
Like,
it has to be when they sell a...
It's got to be like you get a piece of the selling the copies or something, or like I mean, depending on if they commission too.
Well, true, that's what I mean.
If they just ask him to write the music and they pay him, $100,000 or whatever the fuck.
Sure.
Right.
There's new stages to go along with some of these characters. Scorpion's Lair, also known as Hell in like later games.
At least we got stages on top of this. This is another good thing.
We did.
The desert.
Jade's Desert.
I remember this, and like
that was a big one.
is like caught in it or something. Like,
one of the ninjas is or somebody.
It's one of the robots.
One of the robots, excuse me. Yes, you're right. Khan's Cave, which is spelled with a K, of course. I don't remember that one very well.
Generic.
Yeah, well, River Combat, the waterfront.
I never liked how this. I thought this looked like the sewer front.
I thought it was dumb.
Yeah, I was like, what is this where they dump all the shit?
Right. And what about Schiziac Baroses? I'm just kidding. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Oh.
It's the portal thing.
Actually, okay, this stage is actually like a good-looking pit, if you ask me.
It's like an upgraded version of the pit.
It's much better.
Because in the background is like a black hole or weather or a portal.
Yeah, for some reason, I really closely associate this stage with Mortal Kombat 3, which is weird because it wasn't even in the original.
No, it's in UMK3.
Yeah, but that kind of goes to show you how UMK3 kind of just like took the fuck over. Like
As it should have.
People were like, fuck that original one. Like nobody played that once this came out.
If you could have your hands on Ultimate, you might as well just play that. Like
it was just the the real version of Mortal Kombat 3.
Absolutely, Quinn. Couldn't agree more. This stage is kind of a combination of of Pit 2 and 3, like the background of Pit 2, kind of.
It's just good.
It's a good stage. And don't forget, of course, Noob Saibot's Dorphin.
But didn't we have that in the last one?
We did, but his Dorphin is returned.
His Dorphin's here.
It's Dorphin.
Okay. I don't even know what that means.
We don't need to know. Home versions, as we mentioned, Super Nintendo, Genesis, Saturn.
The one that I played the most was my friend had the Super version of it.
Yeah, that's the one I played the most. Never played Genesis. Emulation, I might have played this one.
We played a lot of that one because I still to this day can see in my view that
Noob's Dorphin?
That purple sticker on the cartridge sticking out of the console.
Yeah.
It's like because we was just like always in there. Like we would always be playing that.
I thought that was a great rebound.
Yeah, it was much better.
I really do. I think they did a great job.
I still never felt comfortable with the whole combo chain system.
I know. Well, they changed it a little bit in this.
Yeah.
Dial-it combo. Whatever they call it.
Yeah, whatever.
It doesn't matter.
It never really stuck with me, and it was like, again, once we left even Ultimate, and there was one more.
Yeah, we'll cover it.
That we'll cover, but it was like this was like the last hurrah. Like I really did not like the system of this, and I was willing to give like all the like updates a try, but like I was not willing to go to the next Mortal Kombat after this.
No, I understand. So I want to bear something in mind here. The home versions that we mentioned came out in the fall of '96, and I distinctly remember the commercials and everything. The arcade had come out in November of '95 of Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. So by October of '96, we're late in the run for Genesis and Super Nintendo. Like we are.
Yeah, even for Super. Because Super is like, now Super's approaching how old Genesis was when like Mortal Kombat 2 came out or whatever.
Right.
Like it's like getting, okay, now these are old. 96 to me is like the first year where Super was like, okay, this is it. Like it's over.
Especially by the fall because N64 was out.
Yeah.
You know, there's a little dicey.
95 is like generally considered the last hurrah for SNES.
There's some great games. SNES, yes. There's some great games.
It's true, though.
We have a semantic difference with the way you pronounce that. Anyway, the reception was better across the board for this, for the home versus MK3. It varied per console, you know what I mean? Like maybe Super was better in this area, Genesis in this, but overall better.
But by this point, too, a lot of users were on PlayStation. Definitely not Saturn because no one fucking had that. But
by late 96, it was already like waning.
Yeah.
It didn't even get big enough in the US to wane.
Saturn's like so funny.
When it wanes, it pours.
Yeah, Saturn is like just at least in the United States, it's like such a failure.
It's like sad. We talked about this.
Barely even got started. By like 96, people were already like, there is no other system.
Right,
like
PlayStation and N64.
Yeah, it's like it's just those two. And N64 is just like its own thing because it's like, oh, it's the Nintendo. You need this to play Mario and Zelda and everything. Like that's all you use it for. It's like everything else is on PlayStation. Like,
and we talked about, not to get off on a tangent, but you can listen to the Genesis episode of Alma in the Archives, how it wasn't like the console's fault. It's a great console. It really is. It was marketing
Saturn's
and Sega.
all right. It's just...
It's a little better than all right.
They just fucked up the launch.
They fucked up the launch.
It's so busted.
They fucked it up, yeah.
And they didn't like really focus on 3D as much as they should have, and like all this
That's
shit.
all people cared about.
Yeah, it's just, you could do a whole podcast on like how fucked up the Sega Saturn thing ended up. The launch and everything. Yeah.
But hey, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, big success. Why stop there? Why not embrace the Capcom route and use the engine again?
Now, but this again. So
what?
I want to say this before we even get into trilogy.
Why are you so upset?
No, this is a good thing.
Oh, excuse me.
So what I felt like trilogy was...
That's what it was.
Personally, was... It's even in the name that it's a trilogy or whatever. that it was kind of like the last hurrah for like the OG like Mortal Kombat,
the
right?
OG trilogy,
before
if you will.
Before we like start adding 3D and like mythologies and all this other crap. It's like this is like it almost felt like a collection of like everything they had done up to this point, right?
That's exactly right.
Right.
And it was
unfortunately in the MK3 engine, like they shouldn't have done that, but
but it was like a final bow for this generation of these 3 games. Now this I want to make special mention. Home release only. This was not an arcade game.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh.
This was only in the home.
I always thought that this was like somehow in the arcade.
Nope. And it
seems like it would do Gangbusters in the arcade. The idea of like you pick everyone or whatever.
Gangsbusters, yes.
Yeah, Gangbusters.
Yes, Pat Patterson.
Yeah.
No. It was strictly for home and only the next gen consoles. It was not on the 16-bit.
I do remember that. So I had it on Nintendo 64.
I was pissed because I didn't have a next gen yet.
Oh, okay.
In 96.
I thought you had a PlayStation.
I didn't get it until 98.
Oh, okay. And you didn't pick it up or anything?
I got it eventually.
Okay, yeah.
No, I got it. I got it after that. Yes.
I mean, I had it on N64, which wasn't. This was before I realized, hey, the N64 controller is really bad for like
Yes, it
other
is.
games. Although the D-pad's not bad on that controller. Like that's what you have to. That's what you have to use on it.
Yeah.
And actually, it's more usable than you would think because you have like 6 buttons on the face. Because they start using the C buttons as just like regular buttons, like fighting game buttons.
Yeah, you're right.
Like so, it actually like gives you that layout, which is nice. But it's just like next to no fighting games can get on N64. Even the controller's like not that bad for it.
Yeah, you're right though. So they didn't even try to bother with the 16-bit consoles. That's why they got Ultimate,
right?
You know, and Trilogy was on PlayStation in October of '96, right around the same time as Ultimate. November 96 for Nintendo 64.
Right.
If you owned a Saturn, you had to wait all the way until August of 97 because fuck you for owning a Saturn.
Well, and nobody has it anyway. It's true. Like, at least in North America, nobody had that shit.
There was no demand for this. And, of course, it was on R-Zone. I don't know how that all works.
What? Like the thing with your eye?
Yeah, the eye console.
Horrible. I mean, they might as well just said, "Here's the Tiger Electronics version of
Trilogy."
Of Trilogy, yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah. How can you even fit the character select screen on the thing? Like
you can't.
Yeah.
Okay. This takes the entire Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 roster. Does not remove anyone.
Yes. The whole gimmick is it has everyone, right?
So we get back Raiden.
Yeah.
Baraka. Johnny Cage.
Anyone that ever fucking existed, period.
And Goro!
Yeah, Goro's back. Like
you can play as him!
This shit was wild, right? And like, to me, this is like Mortal Kombat's version of a versus game. Where it's like, here's 8 zillion characters, have fun, right? It's like, like we don't give a shit if they're busted or whatever the fuck. Like, they just like, just go for it, right?
It should go without saying Kentaro is also in the game, but who gives a shit about Kentaro? You can play as him too if you really want to.
It was weird that he was pickable because he was just literally, it's like, you couldn't like do anything with him other than like punch people across the screen, which was in itself overpowered.
Yeah.
Like he didn't really need anything else because he's fucked up.
They just were like, here, just have everyone.
The point of this was not balanced. Let's put it that way. The point of this was like, thank you for staying with Mortal Kombat. You can be everyone, have fun.
You're right.
Like,
This
it's
is
like they
fan
just kind of like
service.
they just let it loose. I feel like there couldn't have been much development with this, right? It was like let's just stick everyone ever in it, and then same stages, whatever.
No, you're absolutely right. So, in addition to those characters, because they're midway, this is becoming like a joke at this point. Let's get a couple of secret characters. So Chameleon,
I can't even believe they added people.
Yes.
It's like,
so Chameleon is yet another ninja
that he changes
to other ninjas. Yes, and then but for the Nintendo 64 version, they changed it to Chameleon KH.
Now what's his difference? I don't even remember.
The difference is it's a her.
Oh, it's
a female.
It's the girls.
Yes.
So it switches the girls.
Mm-hmm, okay. Exactly. And
that's odd. I didn't even know about CH Million because I only had the
banker.
N64 version versus KH Million. Just saying.
KH Million.
I mean, it's pronounced the same.
Yes,
so it's
Chameleon.
so it's like kind of hard to on an audio show say the difference. You know.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right about that.
CH million.
We're going down
KH million.
Off the rails, folks. So the stages. Every stage that was in Mortal Kombat's 2, 3, and Ultimate are here, but also they import a few from the first Mortal Kombat, which I, as like a
this was neat
anal retentive completionist, I really like that, right?
Yeah, because it was one of those things. Well, first of all, that we went over how like, man, those MK3 stages are pretty dumpy, huh? Like, it's like the fact that they gave us some stages from the other games was like, thank goodness.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
So they bring back the courtyard. Now, if you remember about the courtyard, it always had Shang Tsung at the top watching.
Right.
Well, in the trilogy version, it's Shao Kahn
It
up
has
there.
to be, right?
Which is just so cool, as dumb as that sounds.
It's goofy because it's probably took them 5 minutes to just literally put like a JPEG of Shang Tsung and Shao Kahn in there instead. But
fuck
they're like, oh, done. Right? It's just stick them in there.
Love it. We get Goro's lair back, which is fine. And we get the pit and the pit bottom from MK1.
Yeah, the fact that you fight in the bottom of the pit was really cool. That was like some real fan servicey shit, right?
Real cool.
Yeah.
And obviously there's other minor differences.
If I recall, couldn't you do the MK2, like the tree stage or some shit was in it too? It was something.
Every stage from MK2 was in it.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Everything from that game, yeah. The reception on this, surprising, was kind of like not overwhelmingly positive. It was very mediocre.
What I remember about it was because of when it came out. So here was the thing, right? When this came out, while it was such a cool idea on paper, the problem was like the general populace was like, we just want MK4 in 3D, and everything was fucking 3D at this point. Like, the idea of them giving you kind of like a tribute game, it almost felt like retro in a sense, right? Already.
That was a risk.
And sell it to you for like a full price game on top of it.
Yeah,
right?
on the next gen consoles only.
On the next
by the
gen
way.
consoles.
If you have a Super, you're out of luck.
At the same time, it's better just because it has so much stuff. So it's like, in one sense, it felt like a remaster. On the other sense, it felt like some kind of weird, like, official, definitive version of all the Mortal Kombats, right? Like, combined into one.
I'm trying to think of how I felt when what I thought of it when I first heard about it.
I got it as like a launch game with my N64 because like I got it like my parents got me like 2 or 3 games when the console came out. It was Mario 64, this trilogy, and like something else.
Right.
I absolutely like remember playing this a lot because it was in the group of games I got on day one on Christmas of '96 or whatever.
I didn't get to play this game. I'm trying to think of when I got it. I found it in EB Games in the mall, which was electronic
PlayStation version.
Yeah. On sale in Easter of 2000.
Whoa, okay.
For $15.
So it was like really old by then because like that's the thing is it came out in like 96.
It came out in 96. It was very old.
It's not like it got any better or worse. It's just on the disc as it was. It's on the disc as it was in 1996.
Yeah,
right?
so
it's before the age of patches and internet connections and whatnot.
No, it was just a cheap discounted game, so I'll buy it. I really liked it. I'm all about that type of thing, though. Like, you and I were talking about how I loved in Street Fighter Alpha 3, where, like, every character came back and stuff.
I think the other thing that was neat about this, one thing that we're, like, I think overlooking, that a lot of times in fighting games, if they gave you, like, any extra characters like this, right, you used to have to unlock them. The concept that they were just, like, on the screen the moment you booted up was just all that alone was like, oh, I don't have to do anything. I just can like be everyone. Like this is great.
Seeing that giant character select screen,
and it's everyone ever. And I don't have to do any work. I don't have to put any combat codes in or any bullshit.
It's true.
Like it is actually like appealing.
I think you're right about that, and then have stages from all the games and stuff. It's really really cool. So I mean, obviously, Mortal Kombat as a brand continues on. It has had its share of stumbles and fumbles. We're not here to talk about it in detail, but there was the live-action movie that came out right around the time of Mortal Kombat 3.
Yeah, and the live-action, the first one was, like, really good.
Yeah, I would say compared to the first Street Fighter movie, although I love
it was much better.
I love Street Fighter, but yes.
I still think the Mortal Kombat movie was ultimately, like, better at the time.
It's better, yes.
Like, it more reflected, like, what it was and shit.
Less campy.
Yeah, and Goro looked kind of awesome in that movie.
It is less iconic, though, than Street Fighter with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Only because it's so campy.
Yeah, but I love it.
Like, that was just Tuesday or whatever he says.
It's so
like,
good.
But I don't know. Like,
it was popular.
Personally, I feel the Mortal Kombat brand post MK3 went into like a lull until like there was some game on PS2 like Deadly Alliance or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of like the official like MK's back.
Yeah,
and they kind
that
of
was
like
the one.
They kind of like went from there. Right, they like figured out how to do MK in 3D, and they were like, okay, like that's where like the current Mortal Kombat's like came from.
Once Deadly Alliance came out, they were back off to the races.
Right, but they were like in the wilderness for like 4 or 5 years, or maybe even 10. Like it was like a really long time.
It was pretty bad for a while.
Right, like, it took till like a late, like a mid to late PS2 game for them to like figure out like what the fuck they even needed to do with this.
You're
and
right.
Meanwhile, what's funny about that to me is that like Street Fighter was entering its dark period when Mortal Kombat like came back.
Yeah.
Like where they were like, what do we even do with this? Like at post 3 and like everything.
Yep, and then Street Fighter rebounded with 4.
But that took that took not even longer, but it took like till after MK got restarted. And meanwhile, like Tekken and shit had all like taken off, right? It's like Tekken, Soul Calibur, and like all these other games like kind of came out. And they were like they were like kind of like the fighting games for a while, right?
Yeah,
it was
they
like
supplanted those 90s games.
Right.
I think that the first 3 Mortal Kombat games, including the enhanced ones that we just talked about, I think they are very of their time, but in such a good way.
Yeah.
I have specific memories of each, and I would say after talking about all 3 of these, my favorite is still Mortal Kombat 2.
Yeah, 2 is definitely like the one to me. Again, it's just because I still feel like MK diverged off into this like very different game.
Became its own thing.
Than Street Fighter.
Sure,
like,
which is fine.
Yeah, but not the direction I would go through personally. And even in the combo sense, like I personally feel like a Tekken does it to as close as like MK seemed to want to do it at first.
Right.
Where like Tekken, it's like you do combos, but they're not, I don't know, they're just kind of like part of what you do. Like they're not like, oh, I got to hold a button down and do all this dumb shit, right?
The run button really offends you.
Yeah.
Well, folks, we're going to run. We do appreciate you guys for being with us here. And we want to hear your memories, your thoughts on Mortal Kombat 3 and Ultimate and the trilogy if you wish. When did you first play them? Have you ever played them? Is the Genesis version better or the Super Nintendo version better? We really need to settle that very old debate, obviously, right?
I honestly don't care.
I don't either.
I know what I know from the technology, and that's what it is.
Okay, remember, SilentQ15 on Twitter, but also follow our show on Twitter at AWM Podcast and join our group. That is, of course, Acid Wash Memories on Facebook. We will be back, though, Quinn, believe it or not, next week for something completely different.
Will we?
Not at all related to Mortal Kombat.
This isn't going to be Mortal Kombat 4.
No, we won't be doing that. I don't want to do that.
talk about that atrocity.
No. So be sure to... No, we're not doing that. I've never really played too much of it.
Me either.
Don't want to touch it, okay?
But mythologies.
No! Be sure to leave us a review, follow us, all that good stuff. We do appreciate you being with us here, and we'll see you next week for more Acid Wash Memories.
See ya.
Like what you heard? Be sure to leave a review and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. We will see you next week.